Welcome to the Shakeup, Shakepay's new show. We'll bring you the latest news, updates about Shakepay and the Bitcoin community. I'm your host, Mike, and this is the Shakeup. This week on the Shakeup, Ben from BTCSessions just happened to be in town, so we invited him over for lunch. Let's just say the conversation got interesting when we started chatting about Bitcoin in 2022. Stick around because you don't want to miss this. Also, on today's episode, we're going to check out some really cool community memes and an exciting update about the Meet the Team calls. All right, I think it's meme time. Let's take a look at some of the community memes that have been submitted this month. Bunch of notables. Let's see here. Huggy31. Dude, great job on the memes. We had a little contest on our Discord server over the past couple of months, and Huggy took home the prize. Great job. A couple other honorable mentions from Kangaroosco, Winter, and Accordion. Accordion, this is jokes. Shaky is not a raccoon, in case any of you don't know that. He is in fact a blue-red panda. Yeah, the more you know. In other bullish news at Shakepay, we've officially brought back the Meet the Team calls. Join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time to meet and chat with a new team member every single week. Last week, we caught up with Carlo, our partnerships manager. He breaks down what partnerships means for us and for you.
What Bitcoin has sort of, allowed, or for the first time in history, created this, sound hard money that gives every single person on the planet an opportunity to transact and hold safely.
Now, what we've all been waiting for. Let's catch up with Ben from BTCSessions and chat Bitcoin 2022. What are you excited about moving into 2022?
Way more happened this year than I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were on the cusp of seeing a nation state make Bitcoin legal tender, let alone issuing bonds that are backed by Bitcoin.
That's insane.
On a global scale, that's insane. I still don't think most of the world realizes how important of a step that's going to be, especially 5 years time looking back, people will be going, oh, that was a big deal, and everything that then came after. So I think it'll be I think you'll see more kind of recognition of Bitcoin as a potential solution in the face of everything that we're seeing with our monetary system right now. Right,
with inflation, blowing out of proportions. You mentioned that new nations are starting to accept and adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender. I think moving into 2022, we're going to have a great year. Bitcoin is looking bright, and we're excited for the future.
Yeah, man. It's a weird juxtaposition of Bitcoin as kind of this hopeful look towards the future in the face of everything else that just kind of has a lot of people in the world just feeling down and out. Right. And I look at Bitcoin as kind of that light through the darkness of like,
you can see it.
Yeah.
The end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Hey, this will fix a lot of the issues that we're seeing. The regular people that go to the grocery store and they're like, I can't afford this anymore. My bills, my wages aren't keeping up with my bills. There's a lot of people going through some tough times right now, and a lot don't know why. And it's not intuitive to point at the money and say this is an underlying issue. But the deeper you dig, the more you start to understand how likely that is. Yeah. Though the wealth gap is exacerbated by money printing. Right. And I mean, the reason that is because you think of a person's situation. If you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're just living on dollars, and those dollars are continually purchasing less, you're now put in a position where you as a blue collar worker have to argue and negotiate with your higher ups to up that wage just to keep up, just to basically stand still. Whereas if you're a wealthy individual and you have excess you're able to take those dollars, buy assets, and those assets appreciate in the face of the inflation and the decreased purchasing power of the dollar. And so, you know, this is kind of the first time in money printing rounds where we've seen money given to individuals, which is, you know, it's better than not doing that.
Right.
Previously, like the financial crisis, it was literally they printed money and then gave it to banks, and then it made it worse. But the important part to note is what percentage of new dollars are going to the worst off in society, and the answer is if it's any less than most of them, then it's not changing the wealth gap. And so it's better to just remove the ability to print money entirely, because what's happening is they're printing a ton of money. They're saying, here's a little bit for, you know, all you plebs down there, and then reallocating a ton of that wealth to people at the top to then decide what to do with. And the problem is the temptation is too great for, you know, those people at the top, and whoever gets that money first is allocating it to assets, and we're seeing those inflate crazy.
Yeah.
We're seeing, you know, housing, the prices of housing has gone up roughly the same percentage as the amount of monetary debasement, which is around 30%.
And isn't that a coincidence?
Yeah.
Right, like very weird.
Weird how that happens, right? And so, you know, but you can see the opposite in terms of the wealth gap playing out in Bitcoin. And that's because you can't print it. So even those that say got in early and got a ton of Bitcoin, just because they have Bitcoin doesn't entitle them to more. And so if they want to enjoy their wealth, first of all, they have to spend it, which means they're spending it on people that, or goods or services that they find valuable enough to then, you know, give up their sats.
Right.
But there's no, hey, you're wealthy, so you get more. In order to get more, you have to provide something that people are willing to part with their sats for. And so you can actually track on chain kind of the distribution of coins and how many people with small wallets, how much they have and what percentage of the pie they have. And the people with smaller holdings are consistently growing. And the people with larger holdings, or like the largest whales, their stacks are gradually shrinking over time. And so it's just kind of this natural flow of Bitcoin flowing to people that are actually providing value for others.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Awesome talk so far, Ben. Really enjoying everything. I think it's almost time to wrap things up. Ben, any last words for the viewers?
Yeah, I mean, again, I would say, if you're kind of just starting on your learning journey,
yes,
you know, learn the how and the why of Bitcoin. That's kind of the most important thing. That'll give you a good litmus test as to sniffing out any like bold claims that aren't particularly true.
Don't trust, verify.
Yeah, don't trust, verify. That's the ethos of Bitcoin. There's a lot of fluff out there, and when things get frothy, when the market gets exciting, there's also a lot of people trying to capitalize on that. So, you know, you can be told a lot of tall tales about the promises
be careful.
of other projects out there. So just be mindful of that. And then also go back and look at some of the history of money. When I mentioned safety with the Bitcoin standard and the fiat standard, another good kind of historical related book is called When Money Dies. It talks about inflation in the Weimar Republic and how the people responded to it.
Excellent.
It's very interesting. There's a really great book that I enjoy called The Sovereign Individual. It was written in the 90s, but it kind of foresaw the rise of like the internet age and kind of what may proliferate in an age where we have a digital presence and what that does to the world. And I think we're kind of seeing that play out now as well. Jeff Booth, Price of Tomorrow.
Perfect.
Awesome, awesome book. I highly recommend you check that out. The Seventh Property by Eric Yakes. Again, a pretty good like look at the history of money and then the future with Bitcoin. So solid read. Bitcoin Audible is a podcast by Guy Swan, and he reads all the best articles in the Bitcoin space. Super awesome. Tales from the Crypt with Marty Bent and Matt Odell, hardcore Bitcoiners. They're awesome. And then I've got some stuff that you can check out too. So I have my YouTube channel, which is just chock full of every tutorial you could imagine on Bitcoin, whether it be wallets or hardware or whatever it may be. It's all there, plus panel shows and stuff like that.
Perfect.
You can find me on Twitter at BTCSessions, same YouTube, you just search BTCSessions. And then I do have a website, btcsessions.ca, and there you'll find a step-by-step video tutorial supported walkthrough of how to get started with Bitcoin in Canada. So it starts with you guys.
Excellent.
You know, how to get your first sats, and then it goes through the steps of how do I get a wallet and get Bitcoin into my own wallet? How do I secure it? You know, all of those steps are laid out step by step, and you can get as deep down the rabbit hole as you like.
That's perfect, Ben. Thank you so much. And what we'll do for the viewers is we will link those books in the description, as well as Ben's channel and his YouTube page.
Awesome. Sweet, man.
Awesome, Ben. Thanks so much for coming in, man.
Thank you. Loved it.
All right, folks. That's all for today's episode. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Shakeup. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and keep that notification icon clicked because you do not want to miss the next episode. Shout out again to Ben from BTC Sessions. Pleasure having you on, man. Looking forward to the next one. See you guys.